Alright, we are back with World Cup action. Still Canada against France here. This is the first game of amoffett versus gamesou, and it was a short one, but doesn't mean it was bereft of quality. So we joined the game a bit late here. Gamesou, he opened with a rat catcher and a silver against double silver from amoffett, and we join on turn 3. Amoffett picks up a silver, and game Sue, I'll use game Sue from now on, picks up another rat catcher. So that's two rat catchers and one silver for him, and three silvers for a Moffat. So now that we are caught up on the decks, we could look at the kingdom a bit. So a couple things came up in the chat here. Most notably is that there's rebuild and rogue. So rebuild turns your duchies into provinces, and rogue could pick up the duchies for you, so you could keep doing that nicely. But we see the players going a different direction in this game here. So a butcher comes out for amoffett, and a couple silvers, a silver again for gamesou, and a fortress for amoffett here. So the plan seems to be very clear for amoffett. He's going after some kind of tricks with butcher and fortress. So another butcher for him. So that's real nice. That's what you expect when you open double silver, to hit at least 1-5 on your turns 3 and 4. Gamesou manages to pick up his butcher, but a shuffle later here. So far it seems that Amoffett has a slight advantage. He has the extra butcher, a couple extra fortresses, and he goes for a curse here to pick up the points from the defiled shrine. I'm not sure about that. Maybe it's fine, maybe it's not fine. I don't know. But he has a bit of a lead in terms of the number of action cards in his deck. What he's not ahead in, however, is trashing because of the pair of rat catchers from Game 2 in the beginning. Moffat still doesn't have any rat catchers, and we'll see how that difference in the decks plays out near the end here. So a mint for games where you had getting rid of a silver and 3 coppers. So 4 treasure cards out of the deck. I'm sure he'll be pleased with that as a Moffat continues to hit the fortresses. So there's another thing on the board here that you might consider as well, right? There's Legionary and Gold, and the attack is devastating here because there's no way to increase your hand size, and you have to discard down to 2 before you draw back 1 to get up to 3. So another mint here, this time for A. Moffat. He managed to get rid of 5 treasure cards, which is real nice for him, especially given that he was a bit behind on the trashing with the rat catchers for game 2. So he now has also a rat catcher, but it's a bit late to the party, right? The rat catcher sits on the mat and then comes off of the mat, whatever, whatever. So now we're going to see some butcher action here, and A. Moffat starts immediately to turn this fortress into another butcher. He had the option there to turn a copper into a rat catcher, but instead opts to purchase a rat catcher here and a couple of one rat catcher trash for game Sue, and he's able to set another one on the mat here. So his deck is very, very thin at this point actually. So while he may not have as many of the things, the fortresses and the butchers yet, he has a smaller, more consistent deck as compensation for that. And he empties the fortresses here. I think you should do there. There are 4 butchers left in his stack. You could get to them. They're a lot, quite a bit more difficult to get butchers than it is to get fortress on the board, I feel. So now we're starting to enter the part of the game where we have to think a bit more like what it is we want to do here. So for aim off it, what it is you want to do. So there the curse comes into play, right? He turns that into a rat catcher, which is fine. And on 5, probably we're going to see another butcher. We're going to see another butcher. Crypt is an option as well, but they don't really have that many treasures right now to make use of it. So yeah, definitely another butcher here for Game Suit. Not Game Suit, for Aim Off It. And Game Suit has to pick up a few more butchers to get on par with the number of gains as his opponent does. So he turns our fortress into a butcher. I say turns, you know what I mean, right? The fortress comes back to hand. Trashes an estate, turns that into a butcher, and with 2, I could think about Ratcatcher, but he has quite a bit of coin tokens there if he wants to pick up the final butcher. I think they split the fortresses 5-5. I'm not entirely sure on that. But the butcher split, I think, is firmly in Amoffett's favor. I think he has six of them, or he will end up with six of them, and that'll be gamesou's fourth. So two piles are empty, and there's only five rat catchers left. Amoffett has a 6 point lead. You see what I mean? Very quick game, but not bereft of quality. We have to, especially gamesou, has to be very, very wary of a pile out on the rat catcher pile. And I think here, Amoffett was one gain short of emptying those rat catchers. One gain short. He could have used Butcher three times to pick up three rat catchers and then bought another. So not quite there on the rat catcher pile out. I'm sure he was looking for that, but it wasn't there for him. So he has to make a different play. He opts to turn a fortress into a gold, which is nice with the butchers around. That gold can become a province later. Um, he may think about a legionary right now. Legionary hurts this kind of deck very, very badly. Very, very badly. It limits your options a great deal. So nothing, no chop and change of the second butcher. And of the third butcher, again, he has the option to turn one of these coppers into something. He may not want to do so, just holding the coin tokens as a bit of an advantage over gamesou. And he doesn't. He just keeps the coin tokens and picks up a rat catcher, which is a bit scary, but gamesou does have the points deficit to overcome before he has to think about finishing the game on piles here. So no provinces have been bought as yet. No provinces have been bought or gained as yet, but we are about to see that change very, very soon here. Very, very soon. So, like, at all these critical points in the end game here, if you like, it's an exercise for you. Pause and think about, all right, what would I do here? What is the best thing to do? How do I progress from here? So, first butcher from gamesou does nothing. Second one turns our fortress into a province. And then he plays that, finds butcher number 3, which converts his silver into a duchy. So at this point, like what you really want is your deck to just be made up of fortresses and butchers. Any treasure cards or anything like mint that's a stop card and is not butcher kinda gets in the way of your deck at this point. And you'll see here where the trashing advantage for gamesou starts to come into play. So mint gets turned into a province and a silver gets turned into a duchy. Here we are at 6 provinces in the pile. But that can evaporate very, very quickly with the number of butchers in both these players' decks. So, Fortress, and here comes the first butcher for gamesou. I could turn Duchy into a province, but he opts to turn one of his butchers into a province. Opts to turn one of his butchers into a province, bringing him level on the score here. And his final butcher turns a province into a province, leaving the pile at 4. Now, it is possible for Amoffett to empty 4, but he has to draw the cards very nicely to do so. So a couple of rat catchers go on the tavern mat, and here's one butcher with a province, but you see what I mean with the trashing advantage. That copper is disgusting to see at this point in the game. You would much rather see a butcher or a fortress. That copper is gross, and it influences his decision here, right? He opts to use the butcher straight away, milling a province. So he's still behind, but he's left 3 provinces in the stack, and he doesn't quite have enough to even buy a province here. So I'm not sure about milling the province there. But he was for a duchy, and this is just an unfortunate hand, right? He has a fair number of fortresses. This should not be happening to him. But as it turns out, I think it doesn't matter because gamesou is gonna finish the game on this turn very, very nicely. Look at this ending, okay? So one fortress gets turned into a province, fine, right? One fortress gets turned into a province. He doesn't yet have the winning hand. He has to go looking for it. So there goes fortress. But again, because his deck is a bit more consistent, he's not drawing coppers, he's not drawing treasure, it's a bit more likely that he'll find butcher, and there's the butcher, and there's the winning hand. Right? There's his third of 3 butchers at this point. So he turns a province in to a province. He's gonna turn a duchy into a province. And where's the extra point coming from? He doesn't have money. Yeah, defiled shrine. Very, very slick ending by gamesou there. So that is game 1, and that goes to gamesou